Hello and welcome to Moxie Journal. My name is Calyx. I am so glad you are here with me today. I just received the Lilifer Tarot. This is a deck by Marion Constentin, and this is a really fun, exciting new deck. And I thought what I would do today is walk through it together. I have opened it. I'm not going to do another unboxing. Too much crinkly, and crazy noises in the microphone the one time I tried to do it. So I'm not good with that on camera, but I did want to share with you the amazing tissue that this came wrapped in by Little Darkness is the name of the company, of her company. And this is every single bit of this is going to get, I'm going to fussy cut and glue these in my journal at different places. This is complete collage journal fodder for me. And so I was very careful as I undid it, and I even saved a little bit of the, what is this stuff called? Packing tape on the outside. So yeah, you would have not wanted to watch me actually do the unboxing, but I just thought this was beautiful and a lot of fun. So we'll pull that aside, and then we'll come back to our cards. So what I'm going to do is walk through the deck, talk a little bit about where I envision it being in my practice. So if that interests you, then stick around and let's do this together. So I did it upside down. On the back, it says that this is a unique deck of 80 cards honoring the esoteric roots of tarot with hand-painted watercolors. Lilifer comes with an illustrated booklet filled with traditional card meanings and magical correspondences to help you connect with your innate knowledge and intuitive nature. And this is just a foreshadowing of these sweet watercolor figures that are in the deck. This is a really nice packaging. This box is just wonderful. I am really beginning to love and prefer two-part boxes to almost anything else, particularly when they have this nice little thumb cut out here, because I like to keep my decks open and accessible, but I don't like to have them just loose on my desk or anywhere where I could get art supplies or something on them, because I do a lot of journaling and painting and stuff. So what I found is that having them in a two-part box just with the top open helps me move them around as a group and lets them sit out and be accessible, but also then easy to store and be able to see the box. So this is becoming one of my favorite ways, and this one is a particularly sturdy little box. And look at this sweet image in here. I just love it when creators do that. I kind of want to have this sitting out. I mean, this could be just a altar space, right? Sitting there with some crystals or little charms or things right there in the deck. Anyway, so in with the deck. So I'm going to put that right there, actually, while I can see it. And then this book. It's a slim, lightweight little book with it's matte paper. It's not shiny paper, which actually tends to be good for me. I tend to be a little sturdier than that shiny paper, but it has so much information. So let's see, it has a little bit of foreword and some instructions, and it says that this was inspired by early tarot decks, the occult tradition of the creator's own practice. It borrows the structure of the traditional Tarot de Marseille, therefore justice is the 8 card while strength is the 11. But they are also fond of the Waite-Smith Tarot. And so we'll notice that the pip cards are evocative and seem to tell a story rather than relying solely on esoteric numerology like the Tarot de Marseille. So it's a hybrid deck that is intended as a work of art, and as such is highly subjective. I just love that. It does have information on the elements, and these elements do line up, even though they're ordered differently in the deck. I have now reordered my deck to suit me. The elements actually do line up the way that I think of them and the way I practice my magic. And so it talks about the elemental dignities. It talks about the zodiac, which I don't know very much about, so I'm kind of excited to learn more about that. I mean, this is quite a bit of information for this tiny book. Planetary symbols, sacred principles, sacred colors, sacred numbers, and I have been really enjoying reading in a fairly numerological way that makes sense to me and lines up with the studies that I've already had in my practice. I've had numerological associations in a lot of ways with some intuitive practices that I've had for decades, and this lines up very nicely with that. I also really like, first of all, I love the font. I'm a nerd and a linguist, and I just love code stuff and interesting fonts. And one of the things that it says here is that the numbers that are on the cards in the minor arcana are inspired by ancient Arabic numerals as they first appeared in Europe in 976 AD. And I love this detail. I love the story behind the story. It makes me feel more attached when I know more about where the art comes from and what it means. But one of the things here that says, because I grew up in a 1,000-year-old medieval town, the imagery of the Middle Ages is close to my heart. This is a creative choice and a nod to my roots. So how perfect is that? And look, then we have this representation of what those numbers looked like. I think that is just fascinating. The Arabic numerals in the Codex Vigilanus in the 10th century AD. So that is a start. And then they have some spreads, sacred symbols, sacred creatures, and then tarot spreads, quite a few. I haven't seen this Light of the Ancestors spread before. I think that's very interesting. Meeting the feminine and masculine self, channeling the guardians, and then it goes into card descriptions. Now look at this, full color, tiny little pictures, but full color. And it's all the way through, even in the minor arcana. Now the minor arcana only get the code words. My brain is stuck on the code words, on the keywords, but I think that's okay. Again, I think there's a lot of room in this deck that is open for reading the scenery that's there with a little bit of the pip and the numerology, but also then to have some open space for interpretation. Another note about these cards are that the king and the queen is actually sits higher in the ascension than the king, and they are considered partners. And we'll see when we step through. Let's see what it says. It says, please note that the queen sits atop of each suit. This choice symbolizes a needed departure from the patriarchal organization of our society and is meant to invite a return to balance. You will notice that the king and queen resemble one another. In this deck, they are equals. And I just love that. I love that it's an inversion of the expected, but that it's in order to create actual equality. So I did look at the book first before I flipped through the cards, but then I have gone through the cards. I've looked at them. I have delighted in them, and I want to share them with you. So when I order my decks, I like to walk through the minor arcana first and then the majors. I like kind of building up to the majors. And I also always start with pentacles or coins or discs or whatever the suit of earth is. For me, in my magic practice, that is north. And when I cast circle, I always start at the north and I proceed in a clockwise fashion, Jessel, and I go from north to east to south to west, and then I come back and I complete the circle. And so for me, what that looks like in tarot is when I order my cards, they start with pentacles, and then they go to swords, and then they go to wands, and then they go to cups, and then I enter back into the major arcana. which is closing the circle for me. So that's how I'm going to look at them today. If that bothers your brain, I totally understand. Then you might just want to skip on to another video, but I'd love it if you'd stay with me and walk through these cards. First of all, cardstock. These are very thin and lightweight. I absolutely find that just fascinating. They are, they're feathery light. I haven't shuffled them. I've just slipped them around. So I don't know that I'll shuffle them because they are thin and they feel really delicate and ethereal to me. So I don't know that just shuffling them like I do my everyday workhorse decks is going to work. I really envisioned this, this deck fitting into my moon rituals, both my full moon and my new, which is one of the reasons that I'm coming on to make this video right now, is because I want to do my welcome in spread and then I want to prepare for upcoming moon ritual. So that's one of the motivations here, also because I just wanted to spend some time with you. So here we go. This is the, and I don't know everything about the pictures. I've read the book, but I haven't worked with them. So these are mostly my sort of first impressions, my first-ish impressions. All right, so we have the pentacles. I love the little dog wolf creature. And I love the elemental symbols, and I'm going to be excited to be learning more about the astrological symbols. But we can see that there is enough of the Rider-Waite-Smith imagery. And again, we have that note on what the Arabic numerals look like. But you also down in the corner have a more standard modern take on the numbers. And there's the 3. I love the little dog creature. And there's the 4. Or 5 of Pentacles. Or circles or discs. Actually, I guess I should read and know exactly what the word is that she uses here. Okay, so actually let's look at that. What do they call these? Just to make sure we start learning from the beginning. Oh, where? Pentacles. Okay, they do say pentacles. Perfect. I love the little paws reaching out. Can you see this? The little paws. And the watercolor kind of monster creature. Oh, maybe I should pull down just a little closer. Is that better? There we go. All right, so we stopped on the 7, and here we go to the 8, and then the 9. Oh, I love that. I love the little purple kind of in there, and then the 10. And now we get into the court. We have our page. I love the little tail. And the knight. The Knight of Pentacles is one of my favorite knights. And then we have the king. And then here's the queen. And you'll notice how closely they resemble each other. I'm a little interested to know what I'll do, because typically when I'm journaling or marking down what card whether it's called the king or the queen or a elder or an ancestor or you know, the different names that they have for the court cards, I usually write 11, 12, 13, 14. And so in this one, because it does use king and queen, but inverts the order, I haven't quite decided if I'm still going to refer to them as 13 and 14, or if just for this deck, I'll just need to put the name without indicating the order. I don't know. So maybe you could tell me in the comments if you've worked with this deck. How do you think about it? Is that something you worry about or do? Or anyway, would love to know your thoughts. Here we have the swords. I love this depiction, and I'm kind of interested in the way that this creator uses the eyes. And if you've heard me speak before, I do have some issues with eyes, but I think they're beautifully done in this deck. I love this one, the 2 of Swords, being of two minds about something comes through really easily for me. I do love the air suit with the ravens. Again, so the sort of companion in the earth suit was the dog canine kind of creature, wolf probably, very earthy there. And now that we're in the air suit, it's a raven. There's the 3, that loss, that lesson card. The 4, I like the square of the 4, that aligns nicely with how I think of 4s. And then the 5, that's an interesting image. I also love the color palette in here. If you know anything about me, you'll know that purple is my jam, but I also love the yellows in this deck, the golds and the yellows that are opposite purple on the color wheel that really make it pop and highlight what's going on. I like that there's a lot of white space in this deck that leaves room for the eye and for the heart to kind of fill in some meaning and understanding. Being harried there. There's the 8. This 9, look at the energy of that. I do actually really like this serpent in what feels to me like a protective circle. So even though with all these anxieties and worries, that energy coming at us, we also have this circle of protection. The 10 looks kind of matrixy to me. And then here we have the page of the little raven sitting on the shoulder. The knight, I love that the raven has changed size and is now actually carrying us in that movement in the air. And then we have our king and our queen. I'll put these side by side so we can see how similar and beautiful they are. I like the hands in slightly different places, the mudra. And I also like the king with the symbol here and the queen with the symbol there, right? So again, we have that complementary and supporting and equalizing energy going on in this deck. I think it's beautiful. Oh, these cards, they are so light. They're smooth, and these are just incredible cards. Okay, we're on to wands. So definitely the fire suit. We see all of that right here with the color change and the energy, even just in this ace or the 1. Then we've got the 2, the 3. I really like this 3. Might have to start making my 3s look like that. I also kind of like this spiral of the snake. I think that energy, the serpent energy, is fascinating. I love the balance of the 4 card here. Still with the spiral, but there's a squaring of the circle that I think is beautiful too. The 5, lots of energy, conflict in that card. Look at that. Oh, I love this. Can you see the detail? I mean, and this is watercolor. I am not a good watercolorist. I love to play with watercolor, but abstract and folk art looking are good words for the way I do watercolor. I like the energy of the 7 here, of the kind of tippy-toeing on the wands, having 2 in the hands. I also like this energy. There's just energy in all these wand cards. This 8, this motion, and I love that our character is part of it, right there in the stream with the wands. The 9, I love that posture. This wand here makes me think of a magic wand, that activation. I just love it. I also really love, I don't know if you can see, but the proportions of the little crescent moon are beautiful. In here, we have the 10. I love the wands sort of being stacked on the character's head. We have our page, again with a cute tail. The knight, that movement and echoing the creature that we saw earlier. And then we have our king and our queen. So our king and the queen sitting atop the suit. And then we come to our last suit. We have cups. And I love the sort of scales on the water creatures. 2 and the movement there. The 3 cups. I love the little fishies swimming on the outside there. Again, gonna have to learn to draw that 3. Y'all may see it in my journals. The 4, little ennui going on. The 5, yeah, as I said, the little extra eye, that intuitive part that is seeing when your other sight is blinded and closed off because of being focused on the loss. We still have that intuitive ability to see. The 6, the 7. I love all the tentacles, tentacle-y arms for the 7. I like that they're actually grasping all of the different cups, the vessels. I find that wonderful. The 8. That movement, that leaving. The 9. I love the enveloping arms there. And then the 10. Oh, look at that. We get to our page, again with the sight, the knight. This time our movement, we have a vessel there, a ship or boat probably. And then our king, and then followed by our queen. So here's the king, and then the queen. I love their tridents. I love how similar particularly these two are, the king and the queen. So there's the king and this is the queen. She's wonderful. I would just love to meet her. And this is one of my favorite cards. This is the Queen of Cups. This is my significator. Someday I'll get that word right. And then we'll go through the majors. Here is the Fool. So much going on with our Fool. A little bit of a different take in that this is kind of all swirling around, but then we have this portal there, and we do still have the little dog energy, and I like all the sacred symbols and the elements all floating around, and I like the imagery there of the journeying, winding path ahead of them. The Magician, the as above and so below, with the extra pieces here. I find this one pretty interesting. I don't know very much about Tarot de Marseille. Actually, I know practically nothing. So there are probably some more nods to Marseille than I at all am picking up on. And I look forward to learning some of those pieces too. So here's the High Priestess. The Empress. I love this Empress. I like sort of the land looking, right? These look like hills and valleys and earth. I like the Taurus horns here. I love, this to me is just, that is a wonderful Empress. I love all that energy. The Emperor. Look at that. Again, that square stability, that sort of authoritarian. And I'm interested in what's going on with this signaling there. Oh, the Hierophant. I am drawn to interesting Hierophants, and I am leaning into the ways of teaching and what kind of teaching a deck has to offer, and having that be signaled, sort of foreshadowed by the Hierophant of the deck. And this one, there's something about a green Hierophant. Isn't that an odd association? I think maybe there is just something about green that is open, that signals to me growth. It is also the opposite I've learned of purple. So, and purple is my favorite color, and green is my next favorite color. And there's just something wonderful to me when the Hierophant is green or has green around them. I am noticing that as a trend. I think I now have 3 decks that have a green Hierophant. I should put them together and do a little study on that. So there's a Hierophant. Oh, I've been forgetting to turn them over. So there's the Hierophant. And then the Lovers. Meh. Chariot. Oh. Instead of our traditional sphinxes, we have these wolf creatures. I love them. I love that their tails have these leaves with maybe little eyes, like it's, I find it fascinating. And again, the Justice for the 8 and Strength for the 11. So here's the Justice. This energy is very interesting. I look forward to working more with this card. And the Hermit. Oh, look at that. The light, and then there's almost like this cave, but it's created by this creature here. I love these, the starry night, and I think this is wonderful. Again, I might have to do a poster or some journal pages with my favorite Hermit cards. The Wheel of Fortune. Oh, Strength. Look at that. Oh, I think this is wonderful. I like the little rooted plant over here too. And I like that the Strength card has that lion-like, leonin? How did they say that? Lion-like is what I'm going to say. Lion-like quality, but it's also the character is the lion. So it's that amalgamation all in one. And then this rooted plant over here too, I just find fascinating. I hope to learn more about that one. The Hanged one, I have quite a few animal decks where the hanged one, the hanged man, is the bat, and so I think this is a wonderful take to have our sort of little monster creature with the bat wings in this perspective shifting position. And I love that their feet are attached to the infinity symbol up there, and then their hands are grounded instead of sort of our heads up in that infinite space and our feet on the ground. I like that part, that specific call out on the inversion. And I love the symbols, of course. I think this is just a wonderful Hanged Man card. Here we have Death. Serpent also often in a Death card. Temperance, and the Temperance is echoing that Emperor with the the finger to the lips, and I can't tell if that's a thinking position or a shushing position or an about to point out something position. I don't know. I also am really interested in the water that's springing forth, but then is balanced with the serpent, kind of fire serpent energy. I find all of this really intriguing. The Devil, kind of prancing around, little creatures falling or reaching. And then a Tower card. Look at that. I like this kind of creature, this impulse. It looks like it's trying to either hold up the tower. This figure looks like it's surrendering to this, this striking, this ego death, this coming down. And this creature, are they reaching for that surrender? Are they reaching to kind of prop up the tower at the last minute? I don't know. I guess it could be both. I like the balance of the elements here. Fascinating. Also, really, can you tell that the cards are gilded? So just this little where they're written, and it makes the wording on the cards very clear. It's very easy to read, and then it's just that gentle touch of beauty with the gold. Oh, and I love this star card. Look at this. This hope, this I know, the starlight. I like the posture here, the figures up here. Here's the star, and then let's look at the moon. I think this is fascinating. The moon is almost the same face, but now the eyes are closed, except that third eye, except that intuition. And instead of saying I know, now it says I believe. I just think that's wonderful. And in the moon card, look, we have the water, but then it's reminiscent here of that crayfish. And then we've got the wolf dog creatures, and the symbols going around. I think that one is just fascinating. That is a really interesting take for me on the moon. And then the sun. This is one of my favorite sun cards. I don't often like the sun card. I don't like the baby on the horse or whatever. That just kind of doesn't speak to me. But this, I love the meaning of the sun card. I'm happy when it comes up in a reading. Of course, it feels wonderful. But the imagery is often not very interesting to me. But this, look at these faces. I like that this one can be, you can't really reverse this card and make it make it look terrible. It just feels wonderful. And then Judgment. I like the arms reaching down. Often you see an angel or a figure blowing a horn to call that awakening. But in this one, I like the hands reaching down, that golden hands reaching down to call forth. And then the world. I like the little childlike drawings of homes here too. I think that is really interesting. I like this aspect of spiraling into the center, and that the heart's in the center. I love these cards. So those are 78. And then, I was like, we have two more. The last two cards in the deck are the Lilith and the Lucifer card. Again, I love that, they are the sacred masculine, the sacred feminine, and also that it's more about that energetic place and less sort of about the actual just gender stuff. So I find these beautiful, and I find myself unusually able to work with both of these energies. Usually that is pretty challenging for me. So I find myself opening to this deck and these lovely energies, approaching some places that I have had a hard time with before. So I am grateful to and excited to welcome the Lilifer Tarot into my collection and into my moon practice. And if you already use this deck, I would love it if you'd leave me a comment and tell me how you use this deck and where it fits in your practice. Do you have a season for it? Do you have a particular process that you feel called to use this for? I would just love to hear. I think it's always fascinating to see just the range of ways that people incorporate their wonderful tarot decks into their lives. Thank you so much for being here with me. I'm going to try and be around, but I tell you what, I have a lot going on in the next few weeks, and I I'll see. So if you don't see me for a little bit, I'm not gone. I'm just busy. Life be lifing, and I will get back as soon as possible. Have a great rest of the day, and I'll look forward to seeing you soon. Bye.